Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. This time it comes from Green Forest, Arkansas. This is a pretty short video, so I will play the entirety of the video, and then I will go back and talk about things that are going on and talk about things that I think that were done right or done wrong. In the very beginning of the video, I'll kind of give you some background on what's going on, and then I'll just let it play from there. This video comes from Police Overwatch on YouTube. If you have not already, I highly encourage you to go check out Police Overwatch on YouTube. They have lots and lots and lots of body cam footage of officer-involved shootings, and they also have other things on there too that just don't end up in shootings. And it's a lot of good content that's on there. They are pretty on top of keeping a lot of content coming out. And right now, in my opinion, I think they're pumping out more content on a higher tempo than the police activity page on YouTube. But without further ado, here we go.
I'm still trying to make contact with the male. Supposedly he has a knife and he's locked himself out in the room, so I'm still trying to find out what's going on with him. Okay, like I said, I'm still trying to make contact with him.
So, some background on what's going on. This guy, Maung Tway, he lives here in this apartment, and his roommates called the police on him because he was just basically acting crazy, causing a disturbance, destroying stuff, and he had a machete. So they called the police, and the police responded. The residents were wanting him removed from the premises. Now, obviously, the police just cannot remove people from their homes or their dwellings unless they're, of course, just arresting them for something that they've seen or whatever. And that creates for the general public who are, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but for the general public who are ignorant of legal processes, it creates frustration for them because they just don't understand how the legal system works and what police can and cannot do. People will come up with crazy requests for police and think that the police are able to do it because they see it on TV. And if they see it on TV, then they assume that, it can go on in real life. And it doesn't. I can tell you that in the state of Kentucky, peace officers have to basically witness everything. There's only a few things that they can arrest someone on for something that they did not see. Everything else, they pretty much have to witness themselves or have another peace officer tell them about it or get a warrant for it. And in this case, I'm assuming the Arkansas laws are pretty similar. If this guy's in his room destroying his own property, there's nothing really that the police can do. And it's cases like this where people call the police out for something that the police don't have the ability to do anything about. They can certainly call the person out and see if they're going to have a consensual conversation with them, but this dude's he's in his own domain, he's in his dwelling, he's in his room. He might be destroying stuff in there, but it's his property. He is more than welcome to destroy his own property. And so things like this create sticky situations for the police. The police, they want to help. They want to help their community and bring resolve to issues, but it's situations like this where it really sucks because they don't have a whole lot of options to do anything. And so this is the background to what you're seeing right now. The person in the stairwell, I believe, is one of the roommates that lives here, and the guy who's behind this closed door is the Maung Tway guy, and he's apparently having a bad day. I don't know. He's from Burma. I don't speak Burmese, obviously, so what he's yelling in that room, I don't understand anything that's going on. There's no translations that are offered. If you happen to speak Burmese, I would love to hear your input on what this guy was yelling about. But that's the background on what's going on. So I'm gonna let this play, and then at the end I'll come back to this point and talk about things I think were done right or wrong.
Language barrier, though.
Okay, back in, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, 476.
Okay, hey, do you understand me? What are you saying?
No, he just said whenever.
Hey, can you talk to me, man? You okay if I come in?
I love you.
Do you want to hurt yourself?
So good.
Hey, you understand me?
You don't have anything.
What are you saying?
No, he just said that whenever he teach and speak English.
Does he not speak English at all?
No.
Can you tell him who I am?
Open the door, please.
He told me.
Open the door, please.
He told me to open the door.
Open the door?
No. Lady.
You open the door.
My Bible. Open the door now.
Open the door.
No.
Come on.
No.
Open the door.
Open my door.
You open it.
Okay. Open the door. Rest on. Rest on. Open the door now.
You open the door. Let me see your hands now.
Father, you don't
You
care.
move right there.
Love you.
Open the door now.
Don't hate me. Open. You father.
Open the door. Let me see your hands.
Don't care, bro.
You have any weapons on you?
What the people, refugee country. What the fuck, girl? You're 80, you're needy. Shit. What do you live with, people? Shit, man.
Open the door.
Shit, man.
Hey,
Open now.
let me see your hands.
Open
Hey.
now. Now.
211 County, shots fired. Send EMS.
Lord, I'm sorry, I cannot copy your radio.
Hey, keep your hands down.
Yes, sir.
Shots fired. He's down. EMS. He came at me with a knife.
Okay, we're getting EMS on the way. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Go ahead and notify 202 and 201.
Okay,
Send EMS as soon as possible.
okay, they're on the way.
All right, so go ahead and go back into there. I'll drop the volume down just a little bit. And as I was saying earlier, I don't want to call this a domestic issue because obviously I don't believe there's anything to indicate that these people have a child in common or they're in some type of relationship. But it's a situation where these people are all living together, and they've reported that this guy is causing a big disturbance. And so they are requesting the police remove him from the premises, but obviously police just can't go in and just pull people out of their houses because other people request them to. There has to be some type of crime committed in their presence for them to obviously arrest the person. And then that would only be a temporary fix, so to speak, to whatever's going on, because once they get out of jail, they can come right back to the house, unless those people had gone to a judge and somehow gotten a restraining order. But it's like I said earlier, it's one of those sticky situations where police really have their hands tied, and there's not really a whole lot they can do. They can engage in or try and get that person to engage in some type of consensual conversation. And based off that consensual conversation, if there's anything that, they make any remarks or comments or something like that would lead an officer to believe they're going to cause harm to themselves or something like that, they can do an emergency detention hold and take him to some psychiatric place to have him evaluated. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, realistically, this dude could have just stayed in his room with his door closed and just told him to kick rocks and never come out, and there's nothing he could have done. And whatever he's destroying in his room is his. It's his property. He has a right to destroy it and do whatever with it. And it's one of those crappy situations. But this dude is obviously, like I said, he's having a bad day for some reason. And the news report that I read doesn't really give any information on, what was going on or anything like that. It just talked about his roommates. He called the police because he was causing a big disturbance. And that's really it. That's the only information I found in the news release. And so this guy eventually, he opens the door. Let's get to this point. So he finally opens that door and he starts to come out of the room with a machete. And you can see that machete raised right there. I'm a little too far forward. He comes out. The machete's in his hand. He's coming at him. He's got the machete. He's raising it, ready to swing. And I had that one perfect freeze frame. There we go. So, I mean, machete's up. He's swinging. I mean, it is what it is. This guy, just like every other video I've done and almost pretty much every other video I've ever watched, he brought this upon himself. Came out of his room into a hallway with a machete, swinging it at the police. Even though this guy lives there, other people live there, and those other people have invited this officer into the house, so the officer has a right to be there. He's been invited in there. And again, that's more of a civil issue, two, 3 roommates having a disagreement on who's allowed in the house. That's not something that can be easily fixed right in the moment. Something that's later on down the road in court kind of proceedings. But anyway, this guy doesn't really say anything to the officer. He just comes out charging at him with a machete. There was I wouldn't say a conversation, but there were words exchanged here and there for a prolonged period of time. I would have to make the reasonable assumption that this dude knows that this guy is a police officer. There's enough light in the hallway. Now, granted, that weapon light might be a little blinding, but he can certainly still make out the fact that this is most likely a police officer. And this is not if he were to survive this, I don't think he could have used the defense of, I thought there's an intruder in the house, kind of bullcrap. I think any reasonable person would say this guy had to have known that the person he was charging at was a police officer. So he brought it upon himself. This is probably a case of suicide by police. He don't know what was going on, but I think it's clear that this guy wanted to die, and he got what he wanted. So he charges at the officer. The officer dumps some rounds in him. He fires 3 rounds total. 2 go into his chest, and 1 goes into his hand. We'll hit that replay again so you can see it again.
Hey.
So he drops pretty instantaneously, and he's face down. Now, where at in the chest those rounds hit, I don't know. But he goes down, and the machete is still right over in here. You'll see the officer kick the thing out of the way.
I'm sorry, I cannot copy your radio.
So he tries to make the radio call, and dispatch calls back and says, can't make out what he's saying. That's a problem in a lot of rural areas, and not even in rural areas, but it can even occur in some urban areas. Sometimes there's just crap radio coverage in a certain area, and this is obviously one of those places where he has crap radio coverage and can't get out, and that's that's a reality for many places all across the country. You know, there's funny memes or whatever that's been shared where you know, we have the ability to talk to people on the moon, but I can't talk to dispatch from my driveway. And that's real. I mean, that's the reality of the matter is sometimes the radio just doesn't reach the tower and you can't talk. Even when you're dab smack in the middle of the city, you could be in a building with a lot of steel and concrete and just can't get that signal out. And a lot of it depends on what kind of radio system and everything that you're using. I don't know what particular radio system they're using, but you know, the difference between UHF, VHF, 800, and whatnot can play a role in whether or not you have optimal radio coverage. You can still have a good radio system, and there's just the geographic layout. You know, you just have crap radio coverage. So this guy resorts to having to pull his cell phone out and make a call to dispatch because his radio is not working. Now, at this point, I would have preferred to have seen him handcuff the guy and secure him before he got his phone, before he holstered his gun. Well, he obviously would have had to have holstered his gun to handcuff him, but before he had holstered his gun and got his phone out and started pushing buttons on the screen and talking, I would have liked to have seen him handcuff this guy just to be on the safe side and make sure he doesn't try to get back up. Because where they're at right now is a shitty little hallway, and if that guy got back up and was trying to fight him, they could both go tumbling down the stairs. The officer could get knocked out during the fall. And then other than that, they're in a tight confined space, a little hallway. There's already some blood on the ground, as you can see, and he's by himself, and obviously his radio's not working. Or it's working, it's just crap coverage. So he could be in a fight for a long time and not be able to get any radio transmissions out, and we would have to hope that the roommates make a 911 call and say, hey, this cop's in a fight, y'all need to get here. So I would have liked to have seen him, like I said, handcuff the guy, secure him, and then get on his phone.
Hey, keep your hands down.
And that's pretty much it on what I've got to say about this video. All in all, a good shoot, even though he was obviously in this dude's home. He was allowed to be there. He was invited in by other people, so it's not like he was some person who was not supposed to be there. And this is one of those sad suicide by police cases, in my opinion. I think this guy had finally had his mental breakdown and decided that he wanted to die that day. So a good shoot. I don't believe that this guy's rights were violated in any way. I don't think any of his constitutional rights were violated. The officer did everything that he was supposed to do. The only thing that I think that he should have done was cuff that guy before getting his phone out and having to fixate on that phone, pushing buttons, and trying to make a phone call. Other than that, that's all I got. If you like what you see in here, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you've not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson with Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.